Tall white columns, perfectly manicured gardens, and more rooms than I could count. I felt so small standing at the servants' entrance with my single worn suitcase. A stern-faced woman named Mrs. Patterson, the head housekeeper, showed me to my room in the staff quarters. It was tiny but clean, and it had a small window that looked out over the garden. It would do. Then I met her, Mrs. Catherine Blackwood. She was beautiful in that cold, untouchable way. Tall, elegant, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to look right through you. Her clothes probably cost more than I'd earn in a year. When Mrs. Patterson introduced me, Catherine barely glanced in my direction. "Make sure she knows the rules," was all she said before walking away, her heels clicking against the marble floor. The rules were extensive. Wake at 5 in the morning, prepare breakfast by 6:30, clean the entire first floor before noon, laundry on Tuesdays and Fridays, never speak unless spoken to, never make eye contact for too long, never ever enter the family wing without permission, and above all, everything had to be perfect. Catherine expected perfection, and she didn't tolerate mistakes. Those first few weeks were exhausting. My pregnancy was progressing, I was 5 months along now, and my body was changing. My back ached constantly, my feet swelled by midday, and the morning sickness, despite the name, hit me at random times. But I pushed through because I needed this job. I needed to provide for my baby. At night, alone in my small room, I'd rub my growing belly and whisper stories about their father, about Gregory, about how much he loved us, even though he was far away. Catherine never asked about my personal life, and I was grateful for that. I didn't want to explain my situation to someone who clearly thought so little of people like me. I heard her once, talking on the phone in the drawing room while I was dusting nearby. She was complaining to a friend about the quality of help these days, how these people didn't understand what real work meant, how they were lucky to have jobs in homes like hers. I felt my cheeks burn with shame and anger, but I kept my head down and continued dusting. The other staff members were kind enough, but they kept their distance. They'd been working for Catherine for years and had learned to stay invisible, to not make waves. They warned me in quiet voices during our brief lunch breaks. Don't drop anything. Don't be late. Don't give her any reason to notice you. I tried so hard to follow their advice. Guests. She had a brother who worked overseas, she said once. Gregory is so dedicated to the business, I heard her tell a visitor. My heart nearly stopped when I heard that name. Gregory, my Gregory's name. But it had to be a coincidence, right? Gregory was a common name. There was no way my husband, my kind, simple Gregory, who married me in that tiny ceremony, could be related to this cold woman in her mansion. As the weeks turned into a month, then 2, my pregnancy became more obvious. I was 7 months along now, and hiding it was impossible. Catherine's eyes would linger on my belly with something that looked like disgust. "How much longer until you're due?" she asked me once, her voice sharp. 2 months, madam, I replied quietly. She just shook her head and walked away. I could feel her judgment like a weight on my shoulders. I missed Gregory desperately. His calls had become even rarer. Sometimes I'd go 2 weeks without hearing from him. When he did call, the connection was always poor, and our conversations were brief. "I love you," he'd say. "I'm working hard for us." And I believed him because I had to. Then came that morning, that terrible morning that changed everything. It started like any other day. I woke at 5, my back protesting as I pulled myself out of bed. The baby had been kicking all night, making sleep nearly impossible. I went through my morning routine in a fog of exhaustion, prepare breakfast, set the dining room, make sure everything is perfect. Catherine liked her breakfast at exactly 6:30. English tea, toast with butter, fresh fruit arranged just so, and soft-boiled eggs with the timing precise to the second. I was carrying the tray from the kitchen to the dining room, moving carefully because my balance wasn't what it used to be. The tray was heavy, laden with Catherine's expensive cream-coloured china, the teapot, the cups, everything arranged perfectly. I was almost to the dining room when it happened. A wave of dizziness hit me out of nowhere. The room tilted. I tried to steady myself, but it was too late. The tray slipped from my hands. The sound of the china shattering against the marble floor was deafening in the quiet morning. Porcelain exploded everywhere, tea spreading across the pristine white marble like a stain on fresh snow. I stood there, frozen, staring at the destruction, my hands trembling. Oh no, oh no, no, no! What have you done? Catherine's voice rang out from somewhere behind me. I turned to see her standing at the top of the grand staircase, still in her silk robe, her face twisted with fury. She practically flew down those stairs, moving faster than I'd ever seen her move. "I'm so sorry, madam," I stammered, already bending down to try to pick up the pieces. "I felt dizzy. I didn't mean to. You stupid, worthless girl." She was standing over me now, and I could feel the rage radiating off her like heat. "Do you have any idea how much that china cost? That was imported, irreplaceable." "I'm sorry, I'll pay for it, I promise." "Pay for it?" She laughed, a harsh, cruel sound. "With what money? You probably don't make enough in a year to afford a single plate." She grabbed my arm, her fingers digging in painfully. Get up and look at what you've done." She yanked me to my feet, and I stumbled, my hand instinctively going to my belly. The other staff members had appeared in doorways, drawn by the commotion, but they stood frozen, their faces filled with pity and fear. No one would help me. No one ever helped anyone against Catherine. "Clean this up immediately," Catherine hissed, her face inches from mine. "And you'll be paying for this out of your salary for the next year. Do you understand me?" "Yes, madam," I whispered, tears starting to stream down my face. "I understand. I'm so sorry." But she wasn't done. Something in my tears, my fear, seemed to fuel her anger rather than satisfy it. "Sorry?" she spat. "Sorry doesn't fix anything. People like you think you can just come into homes like mine and destroy things without consequences? You think being pregnant gives you special treatment?" "No, madam, The slap came out of nowhere. Her palm connected with my cheek so hard that my head snapped to the side. Pain exploded across my face, sharp and hot. I gasped, my hand flying to my burning cheek, shock rendering me speechless. "That's for your carelessness," Catherine said coldly. I should have stayed quiet. I should have just taken it and walked away. But something inside me broke. "Please," I begged, my voice cracking. "Please, I have a baby. I need this job. I'll work harder. I'll be more careful. Just please." "I don't care about your baby," Catherine screamed. She pushed me, both hands against my shoulders, and I stumbled backward. My foot caught on a piece of broken china, and I lost my balance completely. I fell hard, landing on my side, my arms wrapping instinctively around my pregnant belly. The impact knocked the air from my lungs. "Madame, please!" One of the other maids, sweet old Helen, finally found her voice. "She's pregnant, please stop." But Catherine was beyond reason now. Years of looking down on people like us, of treating servants as less than human, had reached a boiling point. She stood over me as I lay on the floor, and I could see her raising her hand again. I curled into a ball, trying to protect my baby, tears streaming down my face. "You'll learn your place," Catherine said, her voice shaking with rage. "You'll learn that in this house you're nothing, nothing." I closed my eyes, waiting for another blow, my whole body trembling. My baby kicked inside me, as if sensing my fear, and I silently prayed. "Please, God, protect my baby. Please don't let anything happen to my baby." Then I heard it, the front door slamming open with such force that it echoed through the entire house. "Catherine, stop!" The voice was male, deep, and filled with an anger that matched Catherine's. But there was something else in it too, something familiar that made my heart skip a beat, even through my fear and pain. Heavy footsteps ran across the entrance hall. Catherine's hand froze mid-air. Everyone turned toward the sound, and then he appeared. He was tall, well-dressed in an expensive suit, his dark hair slightly dishevelled as if he'd been running. His eyes swept the scene, the broken china, the spilled tea, the staff members standing frozen in doorways, Catherine standing over me with her hand raised, and me, curled on the floor, pregnant and crying. Our eyes met. Time stopped. It was Gregory, my husband. But he looked different, more polished, more authoritative, more wealthy. This wasn't the simple man I'd married. This was someone who belonged in places like this. Gregory! My voice came out as barely a whisper, broken and confused. He was moving before I'd even finished saying his name, crossing the space between us in 3 long strides. He dropped to his knees beside me, his hands gentle as they reached for me. "Lucy! Oh God, Lucy, are you okay? Is the baby okay?" His touch was familiar. His voice was familiar, but nothing about this situation made sense. My mind was reeling, trying to process what was happening. "Brother!" Catherine's voice cut through the air, sharp with confusion. "What are you doing here? You weren't supposed to be back for another month. And why are you—" She trailed off, staring at the way Gregory was holding me, the tenderness in his touch, the fear in his eyes. "Brother?" I repeated, looking up at Gregory, then at Catherine, then back at Gregory. You're her." Gregory helped me sit up, his arm supporting my back, his other hand checking me over for injuries. "Are you hurt? Did you hit your belly when you fell?" His voice was tight with worry. I don't think so. The baby's moving, I can feel—" I stopped, unable to form coherent thoughts. "Gregory, what's happening? What are you doing here? Why did she call you brother?" Catherine took a step back, her raised hand slowly lowering. The fury on her face was morphing into something else. Confusion, dawning realization, horror. "Brother," she said again, her voice strange now. "Why are you calling this maid by her first name? Why are you—" "This is my wife," Gregory's voice rang out, loud and clear and furious. He stood up, pulling me gently with him, keeping his arm around me protectively. "This is Lucy, my wife. We've been married for 6 months." The silence that followed was absolute. You could have heard a pin drop. Every person in that hallway stood frozen, hardly breathing. Catherine's face went through a series of expressions so quickly I couldn't track them all. Shock, disbelief, more shock. "Your wife?" Catherine's voice was barely audible. "You're married to her, to a maid." "She's not a maid!" Gregory's anger was building, his body tense beside me. "She's a good, kind, wonderful woman who I fell in love with and married. She was never supposed to be a maid. He stopped, looking down at me, and I saw pain flash across his face. "Lucy, what are you doing here? Why are you working as a maid? I sent you money. I sent you enough to—" "The money wasn't enough," I said quietly, still trying to process everything. "Not for rent and food and baby things. I needed more. I needed a job. I saw an advertisement for this position and I looked around at the grand mansion, at Catherine's horrified face, at the expensive broken china scattered across the floor. "I didn't know. I had no idea this was your family's home. You never told me that you came from—" I couldn't even finish the sentence. "I didn't tell you because I knew they wouldn't accept you," Gregory said, his voice softer now, but still trembling with emotion. "My family, they have certain expectations, certain prejudices. I knew if I told them I'd married someone who wasn't from their world, they'd try to stop us, to separate us. So I kept it secret. I was going to tell them eventually, after the baby was born, when it would be too late for them to interfere." Catherine found her voice, and it came out as a near shriek. "You married her without telling the family, without telling me, your own sister." "Yes." Gregory turned to face her fully now, and the anger was back in full force. "Because I knew exactly how you'd react, Catherine. Just like you're reacting now, with disgust and prejudice and cruelty. And clearly, I was right to keep it from you, because look what you've done. You've been abusing my pregnant wife. You hit her. You made her fall. You could have hurt my child." Catherine's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. Her face had gone from white to red. "She broke my china," Catherine finally managed, but her voice sounded weak now, defensive. "I don't care about your china," Gregory roared. "She's pregnant. She's carrying my child, your niece or nephew, and you beat her like she was nothing, like she was garbage, because you didn't know who she was." He turned to look at all the staff members still frozen in doorways. "Did any of you try to stop her?" Helen, the older maid, spoke up timidly. "We wanted to, sir, but Mrs. Catherine, she doesn't like when we interfere, and—" "I understand," Gregory said, his voice gentler. He looked back down at me, his hand cupping my face where Catherine had struck me. The skin was still burning, probably already bruising. "I'm so sorry, Lucy, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I should have told you the truth. I should have told them about us. You should have married someone appropriate," Catherine finally exploded. "Someone from our social circle, someone with breeding and education, and someone like you." Gregory cut her off, his voice dripping with contempt. "Someone cold and cruel and heartless? Someone who treats other human beings like they're dirt beneath her feet? Is that what you wanted for me, Catherine?" He shook his head. "Lucy is worth 100 of the women you would have chosen. She's kind, she's genuine, she works hard, and she loves me for who I am, not for our family name or our money." I was crying now, overwhelmed by everything. 6 months of missing my husband, of worrying, of working myself to exhaustion, of enduring Catherine's cruelty, all while not knowing that I was living under the roof of my own sister-in-law. The irony was almost too much to bear. "I don't believe this," Catherine said, pacing now. "This is insane. Father will never accept this. The family will never accept this. A maid. You married a maid." "I married Lucy," Gregory corrected firmly. "And I don't care if the family accepts it or not. She's my wife. She's the mother of my child. And we're leaving." He looked down at me. "Can you walk? Are you sure you're not hurt?" "I think I'm okay," I said, though my whole body was shaking. "The baby's still moving. I don't think anything's wrong." "We're getting you to a doctor right now," Gregory said. He turned to Mrs. Patterson, who had been watching everything with wide eyes. "Call Dr. Harrison. Tell him to meet us at the house in 30 minutes. It's an emergency." "The house?" Catherine interjected. "What house?" "My house," Gregory said coldly. "The one I bought 6 months ago, the one where Lucy was supposed to be living comfortably while I was away, not working herself to exhaustion in my sister's mansion because she needed money." He looked at Catherine with something close to hatred. "You want to know why I kept my marriage a secret, sister? This is exactly why. Because I knew you'd react with cruelty instead of kindness, with judgment instead of acceptance." "Don't you dare make me the villain here!" Catherine's voice rose again. "You're the one who lied. You're the one who kept secrets. How was I supposed to know that the maid I hired was your wife? Maybe if you'd treated your staff like human beings instead of property, it wouldn't matter," Gregory shot back. "Maybe if you'd asked Lucy her name, her story, anything about her, instead of just ordering her around and looking down on her, you would have figured it out. But no, people like her don't deserve your basic human decency, do they, Catherine?" Catherine had no answer for that. She just stood there, her hands clenched into fists, her face a mask of humiliation and rage. Gregory gently guided me toward the stairs. "Come on, let's get you out of here. We'll get your things later." He paused and looked back at Catherine one more time. "And for the record, sister, you didn't just hit a maid today. You hit your brother's wife, your sister-in-law, the mother of your brother's child, family. But I guess that doesn't matter when the person is beneath your social standing, does it?" As we walked past the frozen staff members, past the broken china still scattered on the floor, past the cold marble and expensive paintings, and all the trappings of wealth that Catherine held so dear, I felt Gregory's arm tighten around me protectively. My mind was still spinning, still trying to process everything, but one thing was becoming clear. The man I married, the kind, gentle Gregory who made me laugh in that coffee shop, was still there. But he was also this man, someone powerful, someone from a world I didn't understand, someone who had lied to me to protect me. I didn't know how I felt about that yet. I didn't know how I felt about any of this, but I did know one thing. When it mattered most, when I was on the floor being beaten by his own sister, he had chosen me.